Hello and welcome to Seine Yaps for yet another video. Today I'm going to be doing a little review and pretty much just talking about what I think of the Vecna chapter, because it's been out for a few days now and I'm sure everyone has their different opinions. I've seen a lot about it. I've made a few videos on it, but I've got a few things I want to talk about. And honestly, just talk about the entire chapter. Do we think it's good for Dead by Daylight? You guys leave your thoughts in the comments as well. I'd love to hear what you all think. But yeah, let's get straight into it. First of all, I want to just talk about, obviously, the most important part, Vecna himself. So I think a pretty common opinion on this killer is that he's very good. Even from the PTB, he is still insanely strong. Me personally, I will put him probably in the top 5 by quite a bit too, not even at the bottom. I'd put him about 3 or 4. He has some really, really good zoning potential. I think he is very similar to Nurse in that case. He can literally just push people into a corner and there's nothing they can do. That cooldown on the M2 is ridiculously good. But yeah, definitely he's a top 5 killer in my opinion. But they did make some changes from the PTB with him, which I haven't read yet, and I'm about to for the first time here. After, if you just saw my recent video, I covered a little Vecna build, or a perk from Vecna, on Vecna as well. But yeah, I haven't seen this, so apparently, after completing the Undergate animation, the killer enters a 1-second cooldown, which wasn't on the PTB, which I didn't notice that, to be honest, but I can assume that's probably quite nice for the survivor side, just meaning that he can't instantly whip out his M2 or get an attack if he misses, I guess. And here as well, the Vine attack cancel cooldown has been increased from 1.25 to 1.5, which obviously is gonna stop him from M2 faking by the look of it if he's close to someone. Well, it won't stop him obviously, but it'll make it a little bit trickier and give survivors that extra 0.25 seconds to get to a pallet or a window or so. Might make it a little easier to stop Vecna from M2 faking. Make him just go for that M2 shot. And yeah, apparently something about the text description of an add-on. But yeah, surprisingly, they haven't done too much to him from the PTB. From the feedback we gave them as well, but I think he was very, very strong on the PTB. And the one thing I think everyone talked about was that cooldown on the M2, which surprisingly hasn't been changed at all. So I think Vecna from the PTB is very, very similar to Vecna on live servers, which would just put him in top 5 still for me. I think he's very, very good right now. But yeah, moral of the story, Vecna is high-tier killer probably, very good at snowballing, can end games almost instantly if he plays it correctly. Yeah, very good killer. I think he's one of the best killers they have dropped, honestly, for a very long time. I think they will end up nerfing him, though, a little bit, because obviously people are going to have their complaints. I do think he's going to get nerfed probably in the next month or two. Whether it's drastic or just a little nerf, something will come for him. I think they will make that cooldown a little longer on the M2, but other than that, I think he's pretty cool. I think all of his kit's pretty cool. I think the way to counter him with the clocks is quite interesting. They've done a very, very good job on this one. Definitely one of their best chapters recently, especially when it comes to killer. They've done a great job. They've made him very, very well. And speaking of the chapter 2, they've done a great job on the survivors, I can't lie. They have insanely good likeness to their actors, so well played on that part behavior. But apart from that, I think I'm going to go straight on to something else that I want to talk about for this chapter, and that is the perks. So the perks of this chapter are definitely probably the most interesting perks that we have had as a community for a very long time, right? This guy's perks are incredibly unique, and I think all of them have their own usages. And that is something that Behavior, in my opinion, struggle to do with DLCs. They sort of, either the killer has one good perk or none. You know, the perks usually just get thrown straight to the bottom of the pick rate graph, all the way to the bottom, straight after release. But this killer, I think, has something about his perks. And as I said, if you have watched my recent video on second channel, I did a video on Secret Project, which I think has a huge potential to be very, very high in the pick rate list. And I think it could break its way into meta if people sort of pick it up. That video is doing super well right now, and the majority of the people in the comments seem to really, really, really heavily agree with me. It's not even this part, right? This part could be okay if paired with certain add-ons and certain perks. But here, this is absolutely disgusting. If you pair this with any sort of gen block perks, you gain undetectable for 30 seconds over and over and over again. And I think the best way for them to change this, because I think it is too strong, in my opinion, I think this is genuinely a very broken perk if played on certain killers. They should make it so this undetectable effect here can only activate if it's not already on. Because the biggest issue with it, in my opinion, from the games I played, was that it literally just reactivates over and over and over again on top of each other. So whatever killer you're playing, if you have enough gem block perks, seems to literally just have unlimited undetectable, which is a lot stronger than you think it is, especially on killers like Oni, who have crazy traversal and one-shot potential. So yeah, I do think Secret Project is Vecna's best perk by a landslide. Although these two are pretty good, we will get onto them in a minute. I think Secret Project has some crazy potential, and I kind of just can't wait to see what people do with it. It has so much potential. But yeah, we'll get on to Hex Hive Mind, actually. I want to talk about this one too. I've had a lot of requests on my comment sections about this perk. Make a video with, like, Freddy and Eruption and stuff like that with a bunch of gem regression. This one seems good too. I can't lie. If you play DBD a lot, you will notice that this perk, obviously is a Hex perk, and has the passive effect of a few add-ons. So the Wraith has an add-on that does this. Generators are highlighted, and the intensity of the generator's auras reveal their repair progress, which is obviously a very strong thing to have, because you can manage gens accordingly, and pretty much just target the ones that are high in repair progress. So that is a really strong passive. Even though it's on a Hex totem, it can get removed. And the other thing, if 4 gens complete, every gen on the map, which will be the 3 remaining, will lose 10% progress and start regressing, which is pretty decent. That is a pretty decent effect, but it only happens once. I think this perk would be terrible if this wasn't here. If this highlighting the intensity of the generator's auras wasn't a thing, this perk would be terrible. But I think it's pretty decent. I think this could be a very good perk, and especially with some perks put around it, like Undying maybe, to give it a second life, maybe a few gem regression. This could be a very scary perk in terms of gem regression, so I guess we'll see what people do with that. And onto this one, I genuinely think this is the coolest perk that they've put in the game for a very long time. If you haven't played with it yet, it is cool. Turn back the clock, and after hooking a survivor for 60 seconds, you can press your ability button, and any generator you look at, you can press the button and it will lose 10% progress, which isn't statistically that good, but it is so satisfying, dude. That animation and just sort of doing it telekinetically is so satisfying to do. So yeah, in my opinion, I think, honestly, this one is probably the worst of the 3, just because it's not that great. It's sort of like a Pop Goes the Weasel, except a lot less effective. And you might as well just go pop. It's alright, but, you know, it's more satisfying than good, I think, for this one. I think they've done a good job with the 3 Vecna perks here. They're super, super interesting. But let's move on to the Survivor ones, because those are even cooler, in my opinion. So, 11 has some strange ones. This one in particular I want to talk about first, because I think it is literally just grabbed Still Sight and thrown it in a fucking wheelie bin. Now that this perk exists, Still Sight is kind of just useless. There's no point of it even being in the game anymore. They might as well rework it. So, if you crouch for 4 seconds, you pretty much just get to see everything on the map within a 44-meter terror radius. Or radius, not terror radius. So, literally everything. Hatch, windows, totems, pallets, gates. It's literally just Still Sight, except you can move. So, pretty much, in my opinion, just run this over Still Sight. Still Sight is just terrible. So yeah, I do think this perk is a little bit lazy, because it kind of is just Still Sight, but for crouching. But I think it's cool. I have used it, and I think it's pretty fun. Just sort of knowing all that information too, especially if you're in comms, you can sort of tell your teammates what's going on if they don't have it. Yeah, it's not a bad perk, I don't think. Not a great one either, just because it's 4 seconds of crouching, does just waste a lot of time. But yeah, that's definitely a cool perk design. Kind of rip Still Sight and put it in the bin, but oh well. Teamwork Soft Spoken. This one is interesting. So, pretty much, for every survivor repairing a gen, the range at which the gen's repair noise is heard is reduced by 25%. And it also has sort of like Prove Thyself passive too, where you repair 5% faster. I don't know. This perk doesn't seem that bad at all, to be honest. So, mathematically, right, if you have 4 survivors on a gen, the gen's silent, no? Am I wrong there? That could be a fun video idea, actually. But, yeah, I don't think this perk's bad either. This is a cool design. I think stacking this with, what's the survivor one? Technician, is it? The one that makes gens quieter when you repair them. I think that's Technician. Yeah, I think this one could make for some cool builds. Definitely a cool design from Behavior. Something that I'm going to keep in mind for a video myself, actually. I think that's a very cool perk. But I think I'll move straight on to We See You, 11's final perk, which works very similarly to Distortion, I think. This perk I haven't actually used myself. I've only seen the description here. But it's sort of like an aura revealing perk. This is incorrect, by the way. 15%. I assume that's supposed to be seconds. But the killer's aura gets revealed to your entire team by the look of it whenever you get those 4 tokens. So I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think it's bad at all because it's not a one-time use thing. It is something you can keep stacking. So you do have to get a little bit lucky, though. Maybe play against a Huntress with an aura reading build. I think you have to get really lucky for this perk to give you crazy value. I think it's a little bit like Object, where if the killer's like a Michael Myers with Scratch the Mirror, you get infinite aura reading. You have to get very lucky with this perk for it to give you ultimate value. But yeah, in conclusion, I think all of 11's perks are quite cool as well. They've done a great job on the first set of Survivor perks. But yeah, I don't think any of these are going to get nerfed or changed, to be honest. I think these are all very balanced, all of these perks. Some of them are a little bit worse than others. I think Vecna's might get changed, though. Some of his seem a little too strong. But yeah, we'll move straight on to our final set of perks on Dustin, our other DLC survivor. So, first of all, one of the most fun perks in the entire game. I have been using it on the PTB since that chapter came out. Oh my god, it's so fun. So, it's pretty much just Chemical Trap, except you can put it on a window. And you can stack them as well. So, you can put one on a window and then a Chem Trap on a pallet. So, just shut down a loop entirely. Also, I think this is more. I think it's 50% hindered, which is a little more than Chem Trap, if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong. I think I'm right there. But yeah, this is a little bit of a meme perk, but it is actually quite good. Especially if you're playing against a little bam brain like Wraith or something. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I think this is a very good perk in terms of it can actually shut down loops very well. I don't think it will be used a crazy amount because I don't think it's the best perk in the world, but it's definitely fun. It will be used in those meme builds. You'll definitely play against it a few times and get smoked by a window Chem Trap. But yeah, I think this perk will probably stay how it is. It's pretty balanced. Change of plan. This is another one that I have not even read the description of. I cannot... Oh, no, I have! I made Brain a thumbnail for this. So if you're in a locker with a toolbox, you can press your ability button to turn your toolbox into a medkit. It isn't the best perk in the world, again, but it is fun and it kind of can come in handy. You might get super lucky and perhaps you've used a toolbox for a gen and then you need a med kit because you're the final survivor alive and you get one in a locker. It's very situational, but I think it is cool. They've done a very good job at making these perks unique, which is something that they have struggled with over time. The thing with behavior, I think they struggle to take risks with perks because they don't want to scare the community or make the community mad. So for this chapter, I think they've done a great job at just going outside of their comfort zone and making a bunch of perks that are just interesting and fresh, especially for players who've been playing for ages. Gives them some new content to just sort of enjoy, so fair play for that one. But yeah, we'll go Teamwork Full Circuit, our final perk that I'm going to be talking about. For each survivor repairing a gen, the size of the good skill check zone is increased, and it's kind of pretty much like 11's. So you want to stack this with 11's, really. It's the same thing, except it's for skill check zones. So a beginner perk, in my opinion. I don't think it's really that strong. You might as well just run Prove Thyself for the extra speed while repairing with a survivor. It's not the best perk in the world, to be honest. It's like this one and the 11 one could just be used for like fun builds. I don't think this is any good, really. But honestly, I think all the survivor perks are super fun, but I think Vecna's perks are way more effective and way stronger, in my opinion. So I think they've done a great job on the perks, but Vecna's are definitely going to be of more use. The Survivor ones sort of seem a little bit memey. They have done a good job, though. But yeah, those are all the perks. I don't think they're going to get nerfed, the Survivor ones. I think some of Vecna's, especially Secret Project, is going to get a big fat nerf. I have done a video on it and probably just ratted it out to behavior, so that'll get nerfed. Sorry, guys, if that's your favorite perk. But yeah, I think Survivor ones will probably stay how they are. And the killer ones might get a few changes. But yeah, this entire chapter, to be honest, I think they've done a great job. I think they took a big risk. They had a lot to live up to as well. Stranger Things is a huge show and has a fucking massive audience, so they kind of had to please everyone here. And I think they've done a good job, to be honest. I think they've taken a few risks, and it has paid off, because I'm not seeing too much complaints. Everyone seems pretty happy with this chapter. And overall, do I think it's good for DBD? Yes, I do. I think that they've taken that risk, and with the positive reception from the community, I think they're going to start taking more risks, especially with the DLCs, and just add more fun perks to the game a little bit like these. So yeah, I think it is good for the game. I think they've done a great job. I think everyone's enjoying it. So the one thing I will say is Vecna, I think, needs a little cooldown nerf to sort of put him in the balanced area of killers. But right now, definitely a top 5 killer. Super strong. But yeah, thanks for watching. I thought I'd do a little review on the new chapter. I'd love to see what you all think about it. This is my opinion, by the way. Don't get offended. It's literally just an opinion. This is what I think of the chapter. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll be dropping a tier list on this channel super soon. I'm working on it. It is a big one. Thank you for watching.